So I did my PowerPoint presentation on policymaking. Question one is, the EMU is an economic monetary union, goes back to the initiative by the Commission in 1969 in setting out for the greater coordination of economic policies and monetary cooperation. Decision of the heads of state or government at their summit meeting in Den Haag to draw up by the end of 1970 a plan by stages with a view to create an economic monetary union. The crisis arising from the non-convertibility of U.S. dollar into gold in August 1971 and from the oil prices in 1972 was a serious setback for the EMU project. Technically, the second attempt was to move towards the EMU. That was made in 1979 with establishing of the European monetary system that was intended to set up a zone of monetary stability and to increase efforts to achieve closer economic convergence between member states. The third attempt was to create a single European Act, which enshrined in law some of the major economic preconditions for fair, low competition and long-term stability with the internal market. Question two is, the reason the single market needs a single currency because it's a directive of liberalizing capital movements, which was widely considered to be a logical first step for a common currency area, has been adapted at the same time, coming into force in July 1990, as some major economic preconditions for EMU had already been legally solved by the Single European Act of 1987. This new mandate for EMU made it possible to concentrate on the institutional aspect of the monetary union, particularly on the organization of the European system of central banks and on aspects of economic and monetary stability. Question three, crisis from the non-convertibility of the U.S. dollar into gold in August 1971 from rising oil prices in 1972 were a serious setback for the EMU project. Although various member states of the European community at that time reacted with different policies in response to these challenges, progressive was made in stabilizing exchange rate relations between their currencies on the basis of the base agreement. Also, and the establishment of the European Monetary Cooperation Fund in 1973. Question four, the way the monetary union could be understood through a neo-functionalist process is there are two types of spillovers in the neo-functionalist perspective, and that is a functional and political. The functional spillover argued that the modern industrial economics were made up of political pressures in favor of further integration with the states involved. One sector of the economy was integrated. The interest groups operating in that sector would have to exert pressure at the supranational level on the organizations charged with running their sector. So the creation ECSC would lead to the representatives of the coal and steel industries in all member states switching at least a part of their political lobbying from national governments to new supranational agency, the High Authority. It was argued that once these interest groups had switched the focus of their activity to the European level, they would rapidly come to appreciate the benefits available to them as a result of the integration of their sector. Question five is, the member states have vowed economic growth. The member states were acting at their behest under their control, or is the autonomous actor in its own right capable of playing a leadership role in the EU? The counter-argument is that the Commission is simply an international secretariat like many others, that the member states of international organizations to achieve their collective aims. The growth of price stability proves how high the prices can go depending on their economical issue in the European Union. Also, the increasing interpretation of the economic has entailed a weakening of autonomy for the national economic policies. Economic and monetary union will make it possible to realize an area within which goods and services, people and capital will circulate freely without competitive distortions, without thereby giving rise to structural or regional disequilibrium. Also, these developments, some of which have positive aspects, help nothing less to make it more difficult the control of economic development by member states, while the constantly increasing interdependence of the industrial economies throws into clear relief the problem of individuality of the community. So it's pretty interesting to hear how the member states came together in developing the economic growth. They were working on with the European Union on how to provide a stronger economy, develop economy that is able to help all the countries in Europe to have a rising cost, or have the same amount of technically be at the same economical level. Europe's goal was to make sure every country in Europe economy is stabilized and at its best. Their goal was to bring every country's economy up and not making sure that it falls. The economic crisis in 2000 that led Gustav Streseman's speech before the League of Nations 1929 was archived on January 1st, 2002, when Eurobank notes and coins were introduced in 12 member states of the European Union. The Euro area now not only forms a currency zone for 16 sovereign states in Europe with more than 370 million inhabitants, but also constitutes a reference area for many parts in the world, either as a legal tender in overseas territories of the European countries or reference as a currency with fixed exchange relations with other currency zones. So when there was an economic crisis 2000, Gustav Streseman's speech helped to bring up the euro in some way, and what his goal was to get the European market at a high level. He wanted to bring the euro currency at a high rate. He was trying to figure out how to bring out all the member states' currency up. He wanted to develop a great economy with all of Europe. And his goal was to make sure all the sovereign states in Europe had an affordable currency. Yeah. So my assigned country is Germany. The EU relies on Germany to bail out the countries like Greece, Ireland, and Spain. So Germany has been working on bailing out countries from their debt. They have so far bailed out Greece, Spain, Ireland. Germany has a fairly low intra-union trade. A regional concentration of certain industries seem to indicate that the aims of the EMU are not being met. So they've been working on, Germany has been working on making sure that everyone's economy is at its greatest. They have gotten, like I said, Greece, Spain, Ireland out of the economic recession. If it wasn't for Germany, Greece and Spain, Ireland would be there be an economical recession to today. Germany has also benefited from the Eurozone crisis. Germany has also learned a lot with the Eurozone crisis, and however, regardless of any necessary changes in the system, Germany cannot afford to be in the EMU due mainly to the benefits of price stabilization that it draws from the area. Germany is the most powerful member of the EMU with the highest GDP. Yeah, it's been interesting how Germany has learned, benefited from the Eurozone crisis, and how they've tried to pull out many European countries who are at the economic recession point.